So do you guys remember when I said I'm very hesitant when it comes to January releases? This is why. So Fear is that classic January shitfest that's trying to masquerade as a psychological horror film. Fear did something to my psyche. That much is clear to me. But Fear follows this group of friends that come to this old-ass hotel in the middle of nowhere, and it becomes apparent quickly that something is off. So paranoia and distrust turn into fear, and shit starts happening. I don't even know where to begin with this one, because honestly, I kind of felt like Fear was doing everything in its power to annoy me. Like, have you ever been in a situation where you're minding your business at a bar or a sit-down restaurant, and some asshat that you've never met in your life just kind of walks up to you and starts being as obnoxious and annoying as they could possibly be? Yeah, that's pretty much how Fear felt in a nutshell. And the more I sat there in the theater watching this thing, I could just feel my hate and disdain for it just getting bigger and bigger. Part of it had to do with the bullshit that I was being subjected to on screen, but the main reason was because watching this movie, I can see the potential in it. Admittedly, Fear does have a theme and a premise that could have worked if it was executed the right way. But this movie is just so full of crap that those moments of potential get completely overshadowed. I can't even stress to you guys just how bored I was watching Fear, and honestly, nothing really happens in this movie until the last 15 minutes. Majority of this movie is just people screaming and yelling at each other, and just doing everything they can possibly do to make themselves as unlikable as possible, while giving some of the worst acting jobs I think I've seen in a while, honestly. You can't convince me that this man is an actor. Like, I honestly refuse to believe it. Plank of wood. That's what I'm gonna dub him. He's just a plank of wood. All of these characters are just some of the most bland, boring, and conniving asshats I've ever seen. Everyone in Fear just sounds like they don't want to be here. Especially that one guy I just mentioned. Like, all of his dialogue just sounds like, "Oh my god, what was that? Oh, I see it too. Oh no, Emily, my friends are dead." It's just like, holy crap, do you like your friends? Fear even has the balls to try and incorporate an allegory for the COVID-19 pandemic in as a plot device. I do get it partially because this movie does deal with this theme that paranoia and distrust can kind of turn people into monsters. But at one point, I kind of began to feel like I was being preached at, like this movie was made by someone who just lives in total fear of going back outside. Not gonna lie, Deon Tyler kind of looks like a guy that's still letting COVID-19 live rent-free in his head. And as for this aspect about paranoia and fear and what it does to people, yeah, I've seen it done better. In The Mist. If they had spent a little less time preaching at me about COVID, maybe they could have spent more time actually trying to scare me. The horror aspect of this movie is just a mixed bag of tropes and cliches that we've all seen before. It's like the writers of this movie deliberately made a haunted house that was designed to play off tropes and cliches. Guy cutting his neck open? Seen it. Guy screaming like a maniac because he's claustrophobic and in a tight space and he can't escape? I've seen that too. Guy rapidly smashing his head into a hard object because he's crazy? Yeah, done it. Oh, and I definitely can't forget the creepy bitch in the box with long black hair. I've definitely never seen one of those before, ever. Every single one of those things that I just listed off is supposed to represent a different fear that the characters have. But since they're all things we've seen before, it's just not scary. Megan at least did something new with the murderous doll formula. So there is literally no excuse anymore. You can make this shit original, you just chose not to. Now, I will admit, there was one thing that did get me, and it was very small, and it was very subtle. And it's a scene where a character is sleeping and a spider crawls in her mouth. It legit grossed me out. I mean, what can I say? I just fucking hate spiders, man. That's actually kind of sad when that's pretty much the only good scare I got out of this movie. And once again, it goes back to the potential this movie had because I see the attempts that this movie tries to provide when it comes to tension. But it's either let down by stuff we've already seen before or the editing. And I forgot to mention the editing. You know, I can imagine that this movie was probably edited by somebody that was probably high as hell at the time. If you're looking for messy jump cuts that don't line up with the next shot, or shit constantly being out of focus, hey, this movie's full of that. That last one probably falls on the director, but hey, what do I know, right? In the end, Fear is just not worth anyone's time. It's pretentious as hell, and worst of all, it's it's just not scary. And as for the COVID shit, if I want someone to bitch at me constantly about not wearing a fucking mask when I go outside, I'll just turn on CNN. Bad writing, annoying characters, and whoever the hell edited this probably needs to be fired. Fear is the epitome of what a bad January horror film looks like. And it really upsets me because I really thought for a second we were gonna make it through January without some bullshit. But Fear is just bad. Like coleslaw. Well, with that bombshell, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Yeah, like I said, I really thought we were gonna make it through January without seeing some bullshit, but there's always one. There's always that one that has to ruin the fun. There's always that one ugly duckling in the bunch. And unfortunately for me, it was Fear this year. Fear this year. Fear this year. I'm on a roll. But anyway, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, I'm the Unbiased Movie Nerd. I'm saying peace, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace out, everybody.